Everyone thinks they know their favorite K-drama actor's best work. But the popular pick and the best pick, not always the same thing. Today we're ranking the top 3 performances from 8 of the biggest names in K-drama, the roles where they actually showed everything they had. And if you disagree, I'll see you in the comments. 8. Park Bo-young.
다시 아무것도 아닌 때로 못 돌아가겠어. 거기밖에 돌아갈 데가 없는 것도 아는데.
People have been underestimating Park Bo-young for years, mostly because she's small, she's charming, and she makes everything look easy. That's exactly the trap. Here are the 3 performances that prove she's one of the most technically precise actresses working right now. Top 3. Strong woman Do Bong-soon. This one made her a household name for a reason. The premise is wild, a tiny woman with superhuman strength, and it only works because she fully commits to both sides of the character. Bong-soon could have been a gimmick, but Park Bo-young keeps her grounded and genuinely lovable. She balances slapstick, romance, and action without any of it feeling disconnected, and that kind of tonal control is harder than it looks. This is the role that showed her range to the widest audience. Top 2. Daily Dose of Sunshine. Set in a psychiatric ward, she plays a nurse who quietly approaches her emotional limit while trying to hold everyone else together. What she does here is completely controlled and deeply human. She doesn't perform the sadness or signal the weight she's carrying. It just comes through in the stillness, in the pauses, in the small shifts in her face. When the heavier scenes arrive, she shifts into something raw and fragile without ever overdoing it. This is where her emotional depth became impossible to deny. Top 1. Our Unwritten Soul. This is her most technically demanding performance, and it's not particularly close. She plays identical twin sisters with completely opposite lives, personalities, and rhythms. And then each sister has to pretend to be the other, which means she's essentially playing 4 separate people. She described it as shooting 2 dramas at once, and that shows. She doesn't just dress them differently. The posture, the pacing, the instincts of each character are genuinely distinct. You forget you're watching the same actress. The show became TVN's highest-rated Saturday-Sunday drama to date, and her performance is the reason it worked at all. 7. Park Bo-gum.
잠깐만요, 선생님. 아빠 놀라겠네. 없다고 치고 죽냐고 새끼야.
Most people know him as the warm, softly smiling actor who makes audiences feel safe. What a lot of those people haven't seen is what he does when that image is completely removed. Top 3. Love in the Moonlight. This is the performance that made him a star, and it holds up. As Crown Prince Lee Yong, he carries charm, loneliness, humor, and quiet emotional weight all at once. He doesn't rely on the character's status to create presence. He builds it through personality, through the way the playfulness sits right on top of something much more fragile. This is his star-making role for a reason. Top 2. Hello, Monster. This is the one most people skip, and that's a mistake. Released in 2015 before he was a major name, he plays Jung Soon-ho, someone unsettling, difficult to read, and quietly dangerous in a way that never announces itself. He doesn't play villain with obvious signals. He plays it calm, almost too calm, and that's what makes it work. You're never quite sure what his character is thinking or what he's capable of, and that unpredictability holds your attention in every scene he's in. This role proved early that his range went well beyond the soft, lovable characters he'd later be defined by. Top 1. When Life Gives You Tangerines. This is his most mature and most restrained performance. He plays Gwan-sik, a man who quietly loves and supports the woman at the center of the story across decades of life on Jeju Island. He's not trying to impress. He's just there, steady, warm, and deeply sincere. And the restraint is what makes it hit harder than anything louder could. Every emotion lands without a single moment of overreach. This is him at his most controlled, and it's the best thing he's ever done. 6. Shin Hye-sun.
가만히 있어. 널 살릴 수 있다는데 네가 안 사라진다는데.
She might be the most criminally underrated actress of her generation. Her range covers historical tragedy, body swap comedy, and everything in between. And she makes all of it look natural. Top 3. The Hymn of Death. This one is quiet, and it hurts in a specific way. Set during the Japanese occupation, it follows Korea's first soprano and a love story that was never meant to survive. Shin Hye-sun plays it with enormous restraint. The longing is present in every look, every pause, every moment where she doesn't speak. The tragedy builds not through big scenes, but through everything she holds back. The only real problem with this performance is that the drama is short, because you can already see exactly what she's capable of, and you want more of it. Top 2, Mr. Queen. This is where she goes completely full range, and it shouldn't work as well as it does. A modern-day chef wakes up in the body of a Joseon queen. She fully commits to the body swap in a way that's genuinely funny. You actually believe there's a man trapped inside her, while still grounding the character emotionally and letting it grow across the series. She balances farce, palace intrigue, and real vulnerability without any of it falling apart. Not everyone could pull this off. She makes it look effortless. Top 1. Angel's last mission, Love. This is her best performance, and the transformation is the reason why. She plays Lee Yeon-seo, a celebrated ballerina who has become cold and closed off after a life-changing accident. The entire arc is about what happens when those walls slowly come down. She doesn't rush it. You see every layer of pain, pride, and buried vulnerability unfold at exactly the right pace. Even the ballet scenes carry emotional weight through movement rather than dialogue. It's controlled, detailed, and completely real. This is where she showed exactly what she's made of. 5. IU.
소주공 귀신이셨나? 뭔 놈이 이렇게 짓거리질 않아. 아휴, 차라리 도라르방을 끼고 살고 말지.
그럴라면 손 빼. 서울놈 호주머니다 너.
People discovered her as a musician first, and some of them still haven't fully caught up to what she's doing as an actress. These 3 performances should fix that. Top 3. Moon Lovers, Scarlet Heart Ryo. This is where a lot of people first connected with her as an actress, and the reason is simple. You can feel every stage of her character's journey. Hye-soo starts bright and full of hope, and slowly gets worn down by the world around her. And IU lets you feel every part of that shift. It's not her most polished performance looking back, but it's one of her most emotionally open. The heartbreak in the final episodes lands because she's built to it honestly from the beginning. This drama made her an actress, not just a celebrity doing a drama. Top 2. My Mister. This is the performance that completely reframed how the industry saw her. Lee Ji-yeon is a young woman carrying trauma, debt, and exhaustion, just surviving day by day. And what IU does here is remarkable for how little she does. No big speeches, no dramatic breakdowns, just silence, small expressions, and a stillness that communicates everything she's holding in. You can feel the weight of her character's life without her ever explaining it. This is a raw, grounded, painful performance, and it's still her most critically praised role. Top 1. When Life Gives You Tangerines. This is where everything comes together. She plays Ae-sun across decades, and she also plays Ae-sun's daughter, Go-eun, a dual role that could have felt like a gimmick and instead feels completely natural. Ae-sun is impulsive, expressive, and emotionally wide open. Go-eun is restrained, shaped by a different generation, carrying her life differently. The gap between them is real and specific. The drama led nominations at the Baeksang Arts Awards, won Best Drama, and IU won Best Actress. That recognition reflects how fully realized this performance is. It's not just her most recent best work, it's the completion of an arc that started in Moon Lovers. 4. Gong Yoo.
날이 좋아서 날이 좋지 않아서 날이 적당해서 모든 날이 좋았다.
He's been iconic for long enough that people sometimes forget to think critically about what makes him actually good. These 3 performances are the answer. Top 3. The Trunk. One of his quieter recent performances, and very effective for that reason. He plays Han Jung-won, a music producer drawn into a contract marriage connected to something far more sinister. What he does here is work entirely through restraint. He's tense, withdrawn, and hard to read, and he communicates the emotional weight through silence and body language rather than scenes designed to show feeling. It's the kind of performance that only works if you trust the actor completely. And he earns that trust. Top 2. Coffee Prince. This is one of the reasons he became Gong Yoo. As Choi Han-gyeol, he plays a man who falls for someone he believes is male, and instead of playing the internal conflict safely, he plays it messily. The confusion, the denial, the frustration. He lets it all be uncomfortable and real. He doesn't protect the character's dignity when the character doesn't have it together. That willingness to be messy is exactly why this drama still resonates and why this performance is still talked about. Top 1. Goblin. This is his most defining performance, and the weight of it is the reason. Kim Shin has lived for centuries, and Gong Yoo makes you feel all of it. Not through grand gestures, but through a kind of tired, bone-deep loneliness that sits behind every scene. He switches between dry humor, genuine warmth, and quiet devastation naturally, and the shifts never feel like gear changes. They feel like the same person in different moments. The emotional balance required to keep this character compelling across a full run is significant, and this performance is why the drama became the cultural landmark it did. 3. Kim Tae-ri. She has fewer years in the industry than most people on this list. Almost none of that shows. Here are the 3 performances that explain why she's already in a different conversation. Top 3. Revenant. This is where you see how precise she is under pressure. She plays a young woman whose life starts to unravel after getting entangled with a malevolent spirit. And what she does so well is anchor everything in something human first. The fear feels real before it feels supernatural. The exhaustion and grief are present in her body before any horror element arrives. So, when her character starts shifting into something eerie, the transition is smooth and deeply disturbing because it's coming from a grounded place. Winning the grand prize for this role was not a surprise to anyone who watched it. Top 2. Mr. Sunshine. One of her most defining roles, and the balance she strikes here is genuinely difficult. As Go-eun, she's composed, elegant, and disciplined, a noble woman who is secretly a sniper. The external strength is consistent, but she never lets you forget the loneliness and pressure underneath it. She doesn't play a strong female lead as a type. She plays a specific person carrying the weight of her country and her choices, and the difference between those two things is the entire performance. Top 1. Jong-yeon. This is where she takes everything to another level. She plays a girl with raw talent fighting her way through the world of traditional theater, and the performance is physical, musical, and emotional all at once. She doesn't just act the ambition and the insecurity and the growth. She embodies them. You can feel her presence evolve as the character does. Episode by episode, the role demanded everything from her, and she met every single demand. This is the kind of performance where you sit back and think, she is genuinely operating at a different level. 2. Lee Dong-wook.
의심이 확신이 드는 순간 되게 짜릿하죠. 무슨 짓을 한 거야? 지우한테 무슨 짓을 한 거야? 이거 좀 완성시키느라.
Most people know him from fantasy romance, which is fine, but it has genuinely undersold. Him. These 3 performances show the full picture. Top 3. Scent of a Woman. This is one of his most emotionally sincere performances. He plays Kang Ji-wook, a man who falls in love with a woman diagnosed with terminal cancer who has decided to truly live her remaining time. He doesn't overplay the tragedy of it. He plays it with a quiet tenderness and a presence that makes the relationship feel genuinely real. The warmth he brings to this character is specific and earned. It's not charm, it's care, and that distinction is the entire reason the story works. Top 2. A Shop for Killers. A very different side of him. He plays an uncle who is connected to a dangerous world of professional killers, and despite relatively limited screen time, he leaves a strong impression every time he appears. The contradiction is what he plays so well, protective and genuinely caring on one level, unreadable and subtly dangerous on another. Every scene carries tension because you sense there's always more underneath the surface than he's showing. This role is a clear reminder that he fits darker material just as naturally as he fits romance. Top 1. Strangers from Hell. His most chilling performance, and the craft of it is worth talking about. He plays Seo Moon-jo, a dentist living in a rundown Goshiwon full of unsettling residents, and the entire performance is built on restraint and surface charm. He doesn't signal danger, he's calm, polite, and pleasant, which is exactly why every scene he's in becomes suffocating. It's all in his stillness, his voice, and the specific way he looks at people that tells you something is deeply wrong, while his face tells you nothing at all. This role rewired how people think about him as an actor, and it's still the performance that defines his ceiling. 1. Kim Go-eun.
한 달이라곤 누가 정했는데? 네가 정한 거네.
She got a high-profile role very early in her career, which meant a lot of people formed their first opinion of her quickly. The reality is that she's been getting better ever since, and her recent work is some of the best she's ever done. Top 3. You and Everything Else. This is Kim Go-eun leaning fully into emotional complexity and refusing to make it easy on the audience. She plays Yoon-jung, whose lifelong friendship with another woman is tangled up in admiration, jealousy, resentment, and love, and the drama forces those feelings into the open when her friend is diagnosed with terminal cancer. She doesn't try to make the character sympathetic in a conventional way. She plays the mess honestly, which is harder and more interesting. The heartbreak in this drama sits with you because she's not performing it cleanly. It's complicated, and that's the point. Top 2. The Price of Confession. This is her at her most controlled and her most unsettling. She plays Mo-eun, a prisoner known inside the facility as the Witch, a woman who offers another prisoner a dangerous deal and never once tips her hand. The performance is almost pathologically composed. She gives nothing away. Every expression is precise, every pause is calculated, and the calm she projects becomes more threatening the longer it holds. Going head-to-head with Jeon Do-yeon, one of the most respected actresses in Korean cinema, she held her own completely. That's not nothing. Top 1. Goblin. This is still her most defining performance, and it holds for a specific reason. Ji Eun-tak is bright and funny and full of energy on the surface, but there's always a loneliness underneath that color. A girl who can see what others can't, who has never really belonged. As the story gets heavier, she grows into the weight of it naturally. She carries both the lightness and the grief simultaneously, so that the character never feels like two different people in different scenes. This drama was a cultural moment, and her performance is the reason Yoon-tak is still one of the most beloved characters in K-drama history. And that wraps up our list. Now I need to know, do you guys want a part 2? Because there are so many actors we didn't even get to yet. Also, tell me in the comments, which actor should be featured next? And if you're still in your K-drama feels, you have to check out this video right here. Real-life K-drama couples who are still together after all these years, including one couple that's been dating for over 10 years. Trust me, it's worth it. I'll see you there.